in the moment you have all been waiting for. A very special guest to our program, your Chancellor, Jerry Falwell Jr. Welcome to the show, Chancellor.
Hello, Andrew. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming on. Now, I'll say this. We kind of semi-met. I came up with a humble tip, Jason Lewis, to the press box. Your gorgeous view from up there, by the way. Great food, if I can also say that.
Right.
The press box of the new stadium. Let me just, that was a long project. You guys, it was a long time done. What's your view of just how it looks now, your view of the stadium?
It's beautiful. I've learned over the years when we're building something new to stay out of it because I'm a tightwad. I've got a business background. I'm very bottom line oriented. Like on Snowflex, I told them to put in a few double wides at the bottom for the ski rentals.
Right.
And they thought that was a bad idea, and so I didn't argue with them. But I didn't go up there because I would have slowed them down on what they were spending. But
Right.
when I went up at the end, I loved it. Same thing with the football stadium. I let Jeff Barber and his guys and the architects do the designing, except when we got close to the end. Oh, not close to the end, but during the construction, I'd go in on a Friday afternoons and I'd see things that didn't look right, so I'd change them, and so they dreaded seeing me coming up there.
Right.
But the big change we made was up in the top in the boxes. They had the back corners designated as mechanical rooms, so we have beautiful views right in the corners of the soccer field and the mountains. And so I said, no, you got to move this mechanical room somewhere else, and so they did. Now it's a beautiful conference room in there. It's a great place to watch soccer games. We watched the soccer game up on the balcony there a few weeks ago, and it was perfect weather. It was
Right.
a great experience, but it turned out wonderfully, and it's it's going to help us move to the next level.
Now, what is the next level? I know, is the next level the kind of wraparound to connect both stadium, to both sides of both seating areas?
I was talking about moving on to the next level, the FBS. But,
oh, okay.
But no, there's several phases on the stadium. The next stage will be an upper deck on the student side.
Okay, so the second level over there.
Right, and
Okay.
the third stage will be the U-shaped
Right.
seating, and then the fourth would be more decks on top of the two on both sides.
Okay.
So that's how you get to. I think that eventually they can get to 60,000.
60,000.
Yep.
Now, with 60,000, is there plans for expanding as far as on campus goes?
What do you mean?
Well, as far as more dorms, more.
Well, we met with rating agencies this fall, Moody's, Standard & Poor's, Fitch's, and they were just amazed at the financial strength of Liberty, how much we've grown, how much we've grown efficiently. And most schools don't pay for their expenses from tuition and fees. Liberty's the only school in the state of Virginia that covers all of its expenses from tuition and fees and generates a surplus to put away for the future. And so the governor's asked us to help show the other colleges how it's done, because they are always running in the red ink and the governor's having to subsidize. And so that's something we can be proud of here. But we want to move on to the next level in football. That I think the stadium will help us get there. A big part of it is commitment to the program. The conferences have to see that you're committed to the program. And,
right.
And we got a lot of big plans, a lot of exciting things happening. I can't give all the details, obviously.
Right,
but
right.
It's all moving in an exciting direction.
That's right. Now, as far as the football team goes, I know you're always there for every game. I remember seeing you when I went home last year for Thanksgiving for the Stony Brook game.
Right.
I remember seeing you on the sideline when we took that lead with a minute left. Now,
the refs stole the game.
Yeah, refs did steal that game. Yeah. We didn't get a call
I called
that
it
game.
Stony Crook.
Stony Crook. Shout out to all my Stony Brook alumni back home. Just your view of the football team this year. Do you think the automatic bid is locked up as far as the Big South? Do you think this is our year?
Well, the automatic bid is definite, but the question is who's going to win the conference.
Right.
And
I'm saying, do you think that's our automatic bid? Do you have enough confidence in our football team?
I think they're going to win the conference unless they just have have a bad day like they did at Robert Morris.
Right.
That can happen to anybody, but I think they've got the talent. I think they I think they got the jitters out now because they played so much better at VMI, and towards the end of the Charleston Southern game,
right,
they started playing like they should. And so I think it was jitters the first part of the year. And I think when they play good teams, they play better.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's true with everybody, but I've noticed that with Liberty.
Yeah.
When we play James Madison and Ball State, we we did better. We didn't make as many mistakes.
The JMU game was interesting because I still say that was the best game we've played all year defensively because that team, they beat Virginia Tech. JMU's a very good team. We held them to 10 points. We weren't less than a score away the entire game.
That's right, and it could have gone either way, just a play or two.
Exactly.
And it's I was pleased.
Oh,
they beat Virginia Tech a couple weeks before that.
You hear that, Flames? You pleased your chancellor. That's one of the number one things you want to do.
And we're
now,
playing Tech in 2016.
We're at 2016. We're playing Virginia Tech.
2015 or 2016. I can't remember which.
I will be back for that weekend, hopefully. Well, granted, I graduate by then. We'll go into that some other time.
Maybe you will.
Well, hopefully. We'll see. As far as just stuff around campus, now I'm one of the – I'll say this. I took a break, just kind of a little background on me. I took a break from school for a year or two. And I was here in 2006 and just saw just what the campus looked like. Then I came back last year, 2009. All of a sudden, we have a Snowflex. All of a sudden, Tilly's around. All of a sudden, there's an indoor soccer center. All of a sudden, there's a bookstore where their parking lot used to be. So, is there more plans for expansion as far as just stuff like that?
Yeah, the things I'm working on now are there's a big field, if you notice, between David's Place and the law school.
Right.
Well, as soon as they finish filling that in with dirt, we're going to create a large parking lot there. That'll be great for game days, but it also will – all the employees of Liberty that work at Campus North, we'll park them there. The road that we called Erickson Drive, we changed it to Evans Drive. We actually are going to level that out. So there's a level parking lot all the way from the football practice field to the LaHaye Ice Center. That'll add about 190 spaces right there. You'll still be able to drive through, but you'll be driving through a parking lot when you come in. And then I'm trying to find a way to get the roads so that you can get back out to the mall without going through the LCA traffic in the afternoons and in the mornings. We got some ideas on how to do that. We're looking at ways to separate LCA, the K through 12, from the Liberty student areas and separate the church because the church is open to the public and there's some safety issues there. There's also with K through 12 kids and college kids, that's not a good mix. And so we're doing some things there. We're also going to beautify this courtyard here, right outside the studio. We've got some plans for building some new structures there for dress. A lot of the buildings in this part of the campus still have a 1980s look. We're going to update those and turn this courtyard into something really, really nice. We're looking at finishing the perimeter road that goes around behind Vine Center over to the dorm circle. I'll think of other things as well.
These are all plenty of great things. One thing that stuck out to me right away, and it's just because you always hear it. Even like me, I don't drive on campus. I just decided not to bring a car this semester. I don't drive on campus, but you hear about the parking problem every day, whether you're off campus or on campus.
The spaces are there; they're just not where the students would like them to be.
Right.
But we can't build a parking garage near the Vine Center.
You get a gridlock
until we get a road system that will handle all those cars. Now, when we finish that perimeter road and the tunnels, if we go ahead with those under the railroad towards road, then we might have the road system that you have to support a parking deck behind Vines.
Okay.
That's what we're hoping. And we're also, another plan is if we can get that road system in place, is a high-rise dorm behind or somewhere on the circle. Maybe replace one of the older dorms there, go up with a tall, I'm talking really tall, big dorm. And that would require a parking garage. But we got to have a way to get the cars in and out. That's what's kept us from building the parking garage.
A lot of big stuff going on in this campus. We'll be back with more. That was the Campus Praise Band with In Christ Alone here on 90.9 The Light and thelightonline.com. We are back in studio with Chancellor Falwell. How you doing, Chancellor? Great. Glad to hear it. Now, again, I mentioned I was here in 06, and I had the esteemed pleasure of meeting your father and getting to speak to him a few times before I left after my first year. Since you've taken over as Chancellor, how has that been, just following in his footsteps? Like, how has that been for you?
Well, I was here the whole time. I worked here for 17 years as General Counsel, Vice Chancellor, so I really knew the ins and outs. I was kind of the guy behind the scenes that was taking care of all the operational things so that Dad could be out front and with the students and out with the public. But it was a big change. It was I had to move from one role to a completely different role, but it turned out to be something I enjoy a lot more than what I was doing before, and that surprised me. It surprised a lot of people, and my approach has been different. in the early years, pioneering the school, my father had no choice but to spend a lot of money on TV and to get the word out about Liberty.
Right.
And it was part of his ministry, to spread the gospel, but he also used it to tell the world about Liberty. But since he passed, I've focused more on investing in the programs and the facilities, and I feel like the word is out. And so now we can focus on improving what we have, and so that's why you see everything that you see happening here. And it's it's something we couldn't have done 10 years ago.
Right.
But it's working now.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As far as just being the chancellor, has it presented any struggles for you? Any challenges that you didn't think you'd have when you took over in 2007?
I never did much public speaking before. I had to kind of figure out how to do that in front of 10,000 people.
Yeah.
I don't do a whole lot of it, but it's part of the job, and it's but it's really what I've done this year. I focused more on changing the perception of Liberty. We haven't reported our statistics and data with the view towards moving up in ratings like U.S. News and Forbes. But we found that if we had reported our data the same way that all these other schools reported it, we would have been ranked way up there with schools that if I named them, you wouldn't believe it. But
right.
It's things like selectivity. We only reported 5,200 of our applications. We accepted 4,700, but we actually had another 23,000 just this year of applications that we didn't report. And selectivity is one of the big criteria they use to determine where you are as a school against other schools. So we're going to start working on getting the word out about how Liberty, our faculty to student ratio is higher than some of those schools. But when you look at it closer, you find that their teachers are teaching 6 hours a year, spending the rest, or 6 hours a semester average, spending the rest of the time writing books to improve their own careers, doing research. Doesn't benefit the students at all. Our teachers, on the other hand, are in the classroom 15 hours a semester. So things like that, we haven't done a good job of getting the word out. I think when we do, Liberty, the perception of Liberty is going to improve. People will realize what we really have accomplished here, and it really is a world-class education. We
definitely, as a student, I definitely agree with that.
And the biggest thing is the Christian emphasis. That's something you don't find with most faculty. And I think you hear from most students that the faculty really does. Most of them take a really personal interest in the students, and it's not just a job to a lot of them. It's more of a ministry, and I think that makes a big difference.
I've yet to meet a teacher that isn't willing to just talk to you, just anything, if it's not even about school, you're just willing to talk to you. So you're definitely.
We're finally able to pay the faculty what they deserve, because they really are one of our main assets.
Shout out to our students. Shout out to our Liberty faculty from the Chancellor himself.
That's right. Yep.
Now, just kind of to shift gears, just also as well, continuing with what we've been talking about. We've been doing this bit on chivalry, as far as, is it dead or not? And we have Mrs. Falwell here as well. She doesn't have to go on the mic if she doesn't want to, but we have Mrs. Falwell in studio. As Chancellor, how has it been for you as a husband? Has it presented any type of difficulties there?
Becky's been right here with me the whole time. She's been a big help to me. She's 5 years younger than me, so I was at Liberty while she was still in high school. So I dated other girls that were a lot higher maintenance than she is. She's a country girl. She grew up on a farm, and so when I finally started dating her, it was like a relief. She didn't care about jewelry. She didn't care whether I opened the door for her or not. I offered to, but she said, "No, I opened the door myself." She pumps her own gas. She's a hard worker. I mean, she doesn't require a lot of maintenance, but but she's been a big help here at Liberty, and she had pretty much, we got a 10-year-old still, but she pretty much had raised, our boys are older, and she had finished, she devoted most of her time to being a mom and a wife in those early years, and so she was at home most of the time. And she did a speech while she was here at Liberty. She came here 1 year before we got engaged, and the speech was supposed to be about what you want your career to be when you get out. She came in with a pillow stuffed under her shirt and barefoot and pregnant, and that's what she was for 20 years. And but she's bought some clothes now, and she's come in and she's you got invested in some makeup. And
Right. Wow.
She's become a great chancellor's wife.
Shout out to Mrs. Falwell over there. Now, my co-host Mark, he can relate with you dating as far as like girl from the farm. He's from Michigan, so
I grew up on a farm, so
Okay.
yeah. So
I understand.
We live on a
We're
farm
low
now.
maintenance people.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure this is the one time I'm outnumbered, like being the one city boy right now.
Mhm.
So, okay. Just as far as also as chancellor, how has it been as a father? You know.
Well, the boys, like I said, Trey's a senior now in college, and Wesley's a senior in high school. I've tried to, it's been busy, but I've done my best to, continue to spend time with them. We always took a lot of camping vacations in the early years. More recent years, we've don't have time to do that anymore, so we've, like last summer, we spent a week in the city, New York City.
New York City.
Yeah, it's big. Man, my kids grew up on a farm, so, being in a concrete jungle was a big, big
wow,
thing
there you
for
go.
them.
Concrete jungle. That's right.
Yeah.
What parts did you go to?
Oh, we just took the kids. We stayed down on Lexington Avenue, I think, and we went to see a few shows. Like Caroline wanted to see Shrek and
Okay.
Wicked. Is that the
Wicked, yeah.
And then Blue Man Group, and went to see.
You caught them at the right time. Wow.
Paul McCartney was playing. We just like hit shows and concerts.
Okay. Oh, New York City. There you go.
But for the kids that grew up on a farm, that was a different thing for them. So they really.
It's
really
definitely a
loved it.
big thing. I've told everybody, as far as just not to get too sidetracked, but I've told everybody that I've met since I've been here, if you've never been to New York City, at least just go once.
Yeah,
The second there's a view every time I go home. Okay,
Mhm.
it's the second you get out of Jersey and get on the Bronx Queens Expressway.
Mhm.
There's a view of the skyline just as you're approaching the Brooklyn Bridge. I
think I
usually
know
take
which one you're
it
talking
exactly
about, yeah.
like you go right over and it hits you at the bottom, right where the towers used to be.
Mhm.
Okay, my dad's office was actually like 2 blocks down. He got the job in 04, but
Mhm.
anytime I would go visit him in the city, like you see Ground Zero, but
Yeah,
there's
we
that
went-
view.
We went down there and took a look.
Yeah, like you see the whole skyline just from that bottom part, and it's just it gives you chills.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's exactly what it says. These lights will
Rockefeller
inspire.
Center, it was,
Rockefeller Center, the Empire State Building.
just
I could talk about New York City all day, but anyway, to continue with this whole chivalry thing. Now, how did you guys? Oh, you said how you met.
Well, yeah, her sister was at Liberty. Her
Okay.
dad never watched anything on TV except my dad, so he sent his daughter here. She's my age. And so she took a group of us down to Carolina. Her dad had a place at the beach, a place in the mountains. So I met her when she was 13. I was 18.
Okay.
Went back the next summer. She was 14. I was 19. We didn't really didn't really become friends. We just sort of knew each other. But when she was 18, she came to Liberty. I was already second year law student up at UVA. We started dating then and dated for 2 years. Got married in '87.
Okay. Wow.
Mhm.
That's love right there. In the
Yeah, we got married in the prayer
prayer
chapel.
chapel, so on campus.
We
Wow.
did it there, so it'd be small. We didn't want to.
Okay, small wedding.
I'd
That's
just
like-
soon elope, but
There'd
had to
have been the other
I'd
option.
let a
Yeah.
few family be here. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for coming on. And just a few more questions before I let you go.
Mhm.
We talked a little bit about this off the air. Now, we were talking about movies before earlier on the
Mhm.
show. And the whole concept of a chick flick, just kind of an emotional movie where, there's a love story and he falls in love with her and she doesn't know if he's the right guy until the very end.
So that's another way.
Is that your type of
That's
movie?
another way Becky's low maintenance. Most women insist on choosing the movies. She lets me pick them. So we end up watching movies like the Bourne movies.
Right, the board movies.
Braveheart. That's an older one, but just it's got to have some action. It's got to have some it's got to be a thriller for me to. If she rents one of those movies that you were talking about,
Like Dear
about
John.
halfway
or-
through, I'm gone. I walk away. I go get on the computer and do email or something, but that's just not my thing. It's got to have some little bit of violence. It's got to have some action, or I'm gone.
Okay, we have your assistant in here, Tyler Lee, okay, in studio. Tyler's, by the way, shout out to Tyler all the way over there. Thank you again for setting this up. This is an amazing, this has been a lot of fun. You graduated last year, right?
I did.
Yeah. Now, what is your opinion as far as like LU dating? Like, is chivalry dead or is it not? Okay. Former student right here. Help me out.
Well, some girls make it a challenge on guys, and some of them want to ring by spring. So
Yeah.
I'm not looking for anything like that when I'm looking for a girl. But if it is dead, I'll be glad to pick up the slack around here. So.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. Now, Tyler, you got a chick flick for us?
Do I have a chick flick?
Yeah.
I've seen The Notebook. Girls seem
Yeah,
to
we
like that,
mentioned that
but
earlier. That was one of my
I was
favorites.
forced to watch it. But I'm not a chick flick person.
We actually came up with like the perfect strategy as far as the movie you'll never fail. As far as taking a girl on a date, animated. You know, you got Despicable Me, you got Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, anything Disney. You know, that's good. And
My
even
10-year-old always has Disney on, so when
I have a 9-year-old
when
brother,
I'm sitting
so
there doing
I'm right
email,
there.
I've always got that playing in the background, but Avatar was good. I thought-
Twilight's good. Avatar's not really a chick flick, but Avatar,
No, he's talking about animated, I
Oh,
think.
animated.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, Avatar, yeah, you consider that CGI. It's animated, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it a chick flick.
No,
but-
I thought you were talking about animated.
Well, as far as action, even right there, that's your type of movie. Well, again, Chancellor, thank you again for coming on. And Al, I'm going to just real quick ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I came up to your suite for the last football game.
Right.
Okay, the last two, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Great food up there. Now, Mark, okay, this country boy from Michigan, he's been to like 4 football games his whole life, and they're all at this school.
Mm-hmm.
So is it all right if I bring Mark up to your suite for the next home game?
Sure. I hope he's not afraid of heights, though.
No,
'Cause it's-
you're not afraid of heights,
I
right?
was I went on the upper deck.
It's
Okay.
about 100 feet off the ground up there where we are.
I mean, obviously I'm not, but
Yeah.
Michigan, you okay over there?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so
Uh,
I
they've got
hear
a-
the food part that kind of turns
Somebody
me.
found a picture of Dad and me watching the first football game at Liberty. I was 10 years old. He was standing behind me, standing right down on the field, and they put that up there in the box. And I've also got a speech on the wall that he always had on his wall when I was a kid growing up by Vince Lombardi, the Green Bay Packers coach, won the first 2 football,
Yes,
first
sir.
2 Super Bowls, and he what it takes to be number 1, and it's a real hard-nosed coach's speech. And I was going to use it at commencement, but Becky said, "No, it's a little too hard-nosed for commencement. You got to allow for somebody to be number 2." But but it was Dad's favorite speech, and it was really what made him decide to make football a big part of what we do here. Our colors the first 3 years were gold and green. I don't know, most people don't know that.
Were they really?
Because he was a
Okay.
big Green Bay Packers
Yeah,
fan.
Mark's also a big Green Bay
Yeah,
Packer
yeah.
fan. Yeah.
I
Well,
bleed green and gold sometimes.
yeah, I just bleed green, big time
But I've
Jets
got
fan
I
over
went
here.
up there and
So
met Bart Starr with him one time, and we've got got that speech up there too. So I told Danny Rocco about it last night, so he might use it in the locker room.
good
sometime.
stuff. So when the football team's getting inspired, we know who's the man behind it,
Yep.
our Chancellor. Well, again, thank you again for coming on. Again, like I said, I was here in 06, to see just how this school has grown. A lot of credit goes to you, and thank you for everything you've been for us as a campus and as a student body.
Got the greatest student body in the world. Makes it fun.
Amen for that.
Thanks, Andrew.